Hello everyone, and now welcome to a 1v1 game, Sock versus Happy, this game taking place here on Tide Hunters 1.2. Let's go ahead and let's speed things up to that 2-minute mark, get this game underway as Sock spawns as the yellow human on the bottom right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Happy spawning as the teal undead on the top left. Alright, we are looking at heroes. Lich first going up against an Archmage, and Lich first being that powerful icy blast with Dark Ritual early on, really making a big impact as more and more undead players going over to the orc side and selling that early Scroll of Town Portal to, to just speed up their economy just a little bit. Alright, sold the Scroll of Town Portal, picked up a Rod of Necromancy, got in a quick charge there, and now going to be going after this Snare Caster Creep Camp. A little bit of Blight as well, as that helps with regeneration across all of these units. Archmage by Sock going to look to clear out this 3 o'clock spot and perhaps set up an Expo too. Alright, there's a quick slow there. Footman quickly running after that Snare Caster, and the Archmage quickly rotating that position so that he's not going to be at the receiving end of any bits of that damage. Now, Happy is going for a quick expansion, already setting up a Ziggurat here, which will be upgraded to a Nerubian Tower. Meanwhile, we're looking at the Acolyte here, waiting to haunt that gold mine. Undead players have one of the unique situations of trying to figure out how many acolytes to train as they're setting up their expo. As you know, you obviously need acolytes at your haunted gold mine, but you do not need a necropolis. So there's a little bit of tension on, well, how many acolytes do you get? Because you could get pressured at your expo, and then you have like 5 extra acolytes at your base. If you wait too long, though, you do end up delaying your tech to tier 2 pretty significantly, and Undead is just one of those heroes that really enjoys that benefit of tier 2. Alright, Archmage trying to double back around. Peasant quickly getting taken down here as the Arcane Tower is, well, still being upgraded. Lich comes across with another Frost Nova, finding low hit point units all the way across the board with this go wide style army, but that is a lot of low hit point ghouls as the peasants may try and, well, just stick around here. Happy's going to end up losing a ghoul or two here if he's not careful, trying to find those low hit point ghouls and pick them off one at a time. One more ghoul going to get taken down. Yes, there goes another Archmage nearly at level 3 as the Arcane Tower finally online, but another skeletal minion, the stab in the back, ends up getting it done. Ghoul down to 43 hit points. He may just try to fall on a creep right there. He's going to get taken out. Meanwhile, this one Ghoul down to 140 hit points. He will be able to back away and fight near the cover of a Nerubian Tower. That haunted gold mine, if it gets completed, is going to be some major problems, as you never want to give the undead the economic advantage, as they'll just simply outproduce you and be able to pick off more units with their high level direct damage spells. Haunted gold mine quickly going to get cancelled there as Sock is setting up his own expo finally. Are we going to see Happy tech to tier 2, or is he trying to re-haunt that gold mine? Option number 2, as Footmen are now trying to make their way out. One ghoul constantly trying to trip up that Footman there as we see another Icy Blast go down. Lich low on Rod of Necromancies, need to buy another one, use the charge, and then, well, perhaps Dark Ritual, get a little bit more mana going again. Meanwhile, during that time, Sock was able to clear up some creep camps, get to level 3, as that level 2 water elemental may get rounded up and give level 3 to the Lich. We know how powerful Frost Nova is, and, well, level 2 Frost Nova just that much more powerful, as the Lich picks up a Claws of Attack plus 5 from the marketplace, oddly enough. Acolytes are transitioning over. Happy is starting to crank out those acolytes at the main base, as that tech to tier 2 is still delayed and not started even at the 6-minute mark. Meanwhile, Human able to set up this expo here, getting up an Arcane Vault, and perhaps will be building a blacksmith off to the north momentarily. Alright, Lich trying to engage here. Water elementals, haunted gold mine, taking a lot of pressured damage as we see the footman putting pressure across here. A big frost nova causing problems as the haunted gold mine down to 200 some odd hit points may get cancelled and get started all over once more. However, the Lich with that level 2 frost nova able to get the job done, shutting down that archmage at level 3. Happy at this point could pivot away from haunting this gold mine, but there's no real reason not to haunt the gold mine as he already has the acolytes out on the field. This is going to be a big opportunity for Happy to use the lost time that the archmage will need to regenerate all of that lost gold to try and clear out, perhaps do a little bit more creeping, or well, creeping actually isn't that great of a choice as the Lich is already at level 4 and well, he wants to try and put pressure. The Archmage is already a little bit worse for wear after all these fights here as the Blacksmith now getting pressured here. Lich wanting to get a Frost Nova off onto that Archmage. Archmage, however, able to dodge all of that damage pretty easily. Ghouls swarming off to the north here. One Arcane Tower is not going to be enough to fend this off. The Footman and the Archmage needs to come back around, but as you can see, the Archmage is still low on mana and unable to bring in that many water elementals. Arcane Tower, however, able to feed back that Lich here. We're going to see another Frost Nova go down onto that Footman. There goes an Icy Blast. One. Are we going to see 2 denies? No, only 1 deny there. Archmage unable to get the second deny off. Alright, as the Lich is double backing here, we're looking at the Ghouls still swarming inside the base or the Expo of Sok. That Arcane Tower plus the Militia able to fend those units as Happy is still waiting to get this Expo saturated. Tech to Tier 2 finally started here, and this has been a pretty big delay overall. Alright, low hit point Ghoul trying to retreat back. It looks as though the Archmage is going to get the kill right there. And the Lich, even with that earlier kill on that Archmage, Sok with his Expo able to, well, instantaneously resurrect his Archmage from the tavern, heal it back up, and, well, try and hold on to his economic advantage. Now, as we transition, Sok has been playing so much basic defense throughout this match that his infrastructure at his main base looks rather sparse. I am expecting knights and perhaps some workshops to be placed down here, as we're also getting into the improved lumber harvesting for the increased lumber costs on these higher tier units. They need to buff peasant hit points. No. Perhaps. Meanwhile, Lich, fighting by itself right now, may actually get to level 5. Tech to Tier 2 is nearly completed. Forest Troll Berserker going to get taken down here. Lich is going to stay at level 4 at least for a little while longer, needing 77 more experience in order to get level 5. Crypt Fiends are finally out here on the battlefield here as we see the quick continuation and Tech to Tier 3. Slaughterhouse not getting added in. Death Knight getting trained up as the Lich now wanders out across the map. Archmage going to be fighting alongside of this Mountain King as the castle is nearly halfway upgraded, and we should be looking at a Paladin. Still curious as to why we don't see, nope, don't take it back. Workshops are now getting added in alongside a second barracks, so we should be looking at perhaps knights and fly machines here as the Lich does get up to level 5. The Lich is going to have a difficult time trying to blast down those knights as they are getting trained up here. Mountain King is sitting at level 2, did opt to go for Thunderclap. Archmage sitting at level 3, very close to level 4. And as we should be looking at this map getting cleared out here. A quick purge, yeah, mistake by Sok there. But then again, bringing up the Footman to take that purge on this particular difficulty, difficult to maintain. Null Overseer going to get taken down. Level 2 Brilliant Aura most likely going to get trained here as the Lich is out here in the fight. Perhaps going to take a Death Coil and then needs to back away. The Death Knight needs all of the experience that it can get, and you can see that Happy is purposely leaving lower hit point creeps alive so that this Death Knight can clear out this creep camp and get to level 2. Meanwhile, Archmage and Mountain King clearing out this Nightcrawler and Murgle Marauder creep camp here. A red creep camp, Talisman of Evasion, Belt of Giant Strength, giving a lot of, well, durability to that Mountain King. Archmage, however, still only has 650 hit points, and with the Death Knight, once it gets to level 3, level 2 Death Coil, level 3 Frost Nova can be a very, very deadly combination for an Archmage who has taken any little bit of damage. Paladin getting trained up here. I do not see Animal War training getting researched. We are going into siege engines by Sock, and, well, the improved lumber upgrades are definitely needed, as Sock is still sitting at only 82 lumber with 1,400 gold. All right, Paladin should also be getting in some Holy Light here. Not quite sure why he isn't doing that. Perhaps also going to be picking up a Staff of Sanctuary. There's a Scroll of Regeneration, as the Death Knight and Lich are going after the Gargantuan Sea Turtles on the bottom left. Alright, these Gargantuan Sea Turtles often give very powerful consumable items and are often some of the earliest creep camps to be cleared out. Odd to see that not be the case this time around, as the Archmage, Paladin, and Mountain King going after the Granite Golem creep camp simply by themselves, as, well, the footmen are quickly going to get cleaned up here. Mountain King gets up to level 3, Sea Giant Hunter, well, absorbing quite a bit of damage. Granite Golem continuing to get in some attacks here. Second Water Elemental quickly placed down, as the Mountain King still absorbing a little bit of damage here. Alright. Happy gonna get to level 3 on the Death Knight, has dual wands of mana stealing, and because they share that cooldown, swapping one to the Dark Ranger too, so that, thank you for the sub, swapping one to the Dark Ranger as well, so that they can perhaps shut down water elementals, shut down some holy lights before they get going. Paladin Knights do have that Animal War training. Was there a Meat Wagon here? Yes, there was. Meat Wagon inbound. Paladin could have a very, very bad day. Are we going to see a Death Coil? No, we do not. No, there's a Frost Nova there, as the Paladin could try and turn back around, but remember, they did not buy a Staff of Sanctuary, which was a curious call to begin with. Death Knight still trying to lead the charge here. There's a Stormbolt onto the Death Knight here, as we do see some Meat Wagons being brought into the battles just to try and deal with the siege engines that may try to roll on in. All of the main creep camps have pretty much been cleared out. I do not believe Sock was expecting that, and now that Paladin, only sitting at level 1, has to engage against Happy with low hit points, which has to be very uncomfortable, since he doesn't even have a Divine Shield to turn on just in case he sees that Death Coil inbound. All right, in comes the Undead army here. Level 3, did we see a Staff of Sanctuary on that Paladin? I do believe so. Death Knight now going after this Hermit creep camp here. Lich is staying at level 5. We do see some Banshees out here as well, so we could look at some possession from these Banshees to take out some of those, or to, well, turn some of those Knights. Triple siege engine production as well, and this is just not a comfortable spot for Happy to be in. He does sit on a 69/70 supply advantage. He is getting up those hero levels, but he needs to find a way to combat these siege engines that are going to be dropping inside this base here. All right, what is happening now? Siege engines want to drop. There is, well, triple Nerubian towers Meanwhile, a couple of ghouls going to get deterred as we're now looking at a fight inside the main expo. Archmage going to try and engage here. Siege Engine trying to go after the Nerubian Towers. Staff of Sanctuaries are trying to save up some of those units. Dual Staff of Sanctuaries. Paladin is running in from behind here. He has really no survivability items as he's just constantly trying to get Holy Light. One Nerubian Tower taken down. Thunderclap slowing down many of those ghouls in the back. Archmage could be in some serious trouble. He gets shut down in a moment's notice, and right now Sock got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Mountain King is going to get lost as well, and Happy is just punishing this very, very aggressive play. But, well, Happy did lose his main haunted gold mine and may also lose this Nerubian tower as well. Acolytes are still nearby, repairing and keeping that building up as the siege engines try to retreat. All right, it looked like, yes, there was one turncoat knight trying to go after the siege engine. Now siege engine down to 180 some odd hit points, taking a little bit of damage every single attack, but I believe it will end up getting taken down here. Death Knight also has that ring of regeneration that I know I often talk too much about, but it's important to give your main burst healers, that Paladin and that Death Knight, some way to regenerate some of their own hit points again. All right, big Frost Nova trying to shut down some of those peasants who are trying to mine away here. Lich continuing this pressure. Perhaps we're going to see some black arrows, and by black arrows, going to see some skeletal minions as well. All right, there's some skeletal minions. Frost Nova going back around. There was a dark ritual as the units are going to fall back and retreat again. 5-3-3 going up against a 4-3-2. Archmage has been resurrected and is now leading the charge back onto the main base. There's about 5.5 minutes of mining left on this base here as the Archmage is bringing in, well, some knights, some water elementals to try and clean up these acolytes here, perhaps hurt the economy. Undead, on the other hand, not to be outdone, bringing the entire army over. Death Coil, Frost Nova onto the Archmage. Archmage down to 133 hit points. Could get taken down again, but a last-second scroll of Town Portal in time as that Crypt Fiend also gets a Death Coil to stay alive as well. The Paladin being stuck at level 2 is a major drawback for Sock. Trying to combat level 3 Frost Nova and a level 2 Death Coil with level 1 Holy Light just simply will not work, as Sock now, well, going after green creep camps to get every bit of experience that he can to get to level 2 Holy Light. Without level 2 Holy Light, Sock has a little to no chance of being able to keep his heroes alive with the ongoing pressure of the Lich and the Death Knight. Even with level 2 Holy Light, the Dark Ranger's silence could become a determining factor of whether or not that hero is able to stay alive there. All the creep camps on the map have been cleared out. Siege engine, well, I believe there was an attempted siege engine drop, or at least a scout out here, but nothing came to fruition. Undead equals PM. All right, coming back around here, a little bit of damage. All right, the Lich. Lich does not have enough mana for a Frost Nova, and, well, without a Frost Nova, not able to get or slow down these units enough. There's a quick Holy Light. Paladin does use the Divine Shield, and now there's a wall of heroes making it difficult to pass. Meanwhile, the Paladin is currently just suffering a little bit of damage. Arcane Tower, however, feeding back the mana on that Lich, and that Lich suddenly finds itself in a lot of trouble. There's a Death Coil. He is surrounded. Scroll of Town Portal forced there, and I do not believe Happy was actually aware of the positioning. He just saw that Paladin just standing there, tried to go after it, and overexposed his Lich there. Is Sock going to be able to capitalize on that mistake, or does Happy have too much momentum already going on his side here, as we're still mining away? About 5.5 minutes of mining on the main base here. Meanwhile, Happy sitting at 11 minutes of mining should have plenty of gold and not have to expo just quite yet. Happy also leaving a knight behind here at this Southern Expo. Will know when Sock tries to reestablish. All right, Mountain King gets in a Stormbolt there, able to cause a little bit of problems. Banshee's trying to get in some possession, just being used for anti-magic shell for now. All right, Death Knight, there's another Stormbolt Thunderclap. That Mountain King getting in plenty of mana attacks as the Paladin could be in trouble. Paladin once more teleported back home with that Staff of Sanctuary, but he is completely exposed right now, and he gets Staff of Sanctuary again to try and get further behind. All right, Lich does not have mana. Death Knight with the Death Coil wouldn't be able to finish the job, and that earlier feedback damage onto the Lich, removing a lot of precious mana, comes back to haunt Happy. Back off to the north here, Siege Engines, well, trying to roll on in and blow through this entire base, taking it down all of the important structures as another Nerubian tower gets taken out. Is the Haunted Goldmine perhaps going to get taken out? If it does get taken out, that would be a very big deal, as the more Nerubian towers are still falling. Death Coil, Frost Nova coming back around here. Lich does have anti-magic shell, able to, well, shake off any storm bolts, as we're looking at Crypt Fiends getting taken down here. Lich now gets up to level 6. Level 6 Lich, Staff of Sanctuary saving a knight, I believe, as the Banshees are trying to retreat back away. There goes a Death Coil, Frost Nova onto a Death Knight, as the Paladin and Paladin, Dark Ranger, and a Lich combination now at 6-4-4. All right, a 4-3-2 human army trio trying to go up against a 6-4-4 undead trio. That just does not sound good, as, well, the Lich, once it gets another Obsidian statue to join with them, will have plenty of mana again. It really is coming down to how much mana is on those undead heroes, as the Banshees have been offering plenty of mana for anti-magic shell to protect against Stormbolt and Holy Light. Being unable to finish off or pick off any of those Banshees because they themselves also have anti-magic shell is making the undead army nearly impossible to take down. All right, Scroll of Town Portal. Acolyte going to get cleaned up here. About only 48 seconds of mining left here as additional Acolytes are getting taken down. All right, Crypt Fiends pushing their way through. Holy Light finishing off a Ghoul. Staff of Sanctuary trying to save another unit again as more Knights are showing up to the party. Paladin, does it have a Staff of Sanctuary? No, there's a Holy Light. Mountain King, there's a Staff of Sanctuary for the save. Is the Staffs of Sanctuary rotation going to be enough as the Siege Engines once more roll on over to try and take down this Northern Expo? These meat wagons are getting focused down one at a time as well. Acolytes are constantly trying to repair. Are we going to see the death of a meat wagon? One or two more shots. Yes, it does get taken down, but Happy is able to hold on to that Haunted Goldmine. We are also looking at, well, a line of shame. So many peasants being brought back over. This knight gonna be able to easily clean up these peasants, as the Siege Engines have nowhere to go. I think the old meta is superior in this matchup. Yeah, it does seem that way. Meanwhile, coming back around, Archmage, Mountain King, I believe, yeah, Staff of Sanctuary needs to come back, finish off this one knight here, so that this expo can get operational. Meanwhile, the Siege Engines are trying to backdoor, but quickly going to be spotted here, as we could be looking at another meat wagon getting added in. All right, Mountain King should easily be able to Stormbolt that knight, kind of just trap it in a corner and then have that be done. There is that Stormbolt, there's the surround, and there's the crucial level 3 on that Paladin that we were looking for, and a double level up, also level 5 for the Archmage. All right, level 5 Archmage, level 3 Water Elementals. Peasants could start building these scout towers again. 55 supply compared to 80. Sock does have the larger army and is now trying to roll off to the north again. Meanwhile, Undead, what is he trying to do? He's trying to intercept this human army here. I don't know why Sock is trying to go after the main base. The expo is pretty much where everything is at, and everything you need is right there. All right, in comes the Siege Engines. They're trying to take down the Necropolis here. Meat Wagon with fortified or siege damage, able to deal a lot of damage to this fortified armor, as we're looking at a potential engagement again. Lich trying to well bring things back over here. We see a cannon tower in the process of being upgraded. Meanwhile, siege engines are just showing up to the party to try and take down this necropolis, even though it isn't one of the truly main buildings here. All right, no, I guess Scroll of Town Portal is necessary, and that necropolis had 100 hit points left. It could get taken down here, and when it finally does get taken down, well, that could have been the difference. Paladin is in trouble, forcing a divine shield. Both sides finding their way through. Mountain King continuing to turn back around. More siege engines rolling on up here. Undead with so many high-level heroes. Is he going to be able to take down any of the human heroes is the question. All right, losing this haunted gold mine would be a major setback, and there is so many siege engines in this fight here that it seems like an undeniability at this point. Units are trying to retreat back. The siege engines are just continuing to put in more and more pressure as we're looking at another Crypt Fiend getting taken down. Archmage trying to finish off units. Haunted Goldmine now taking out multiple acolytes with nowhere to haunt or mine, as the Archmage is going to go ahead and teleport out. Are we going to leave behind all the siege engines but take home all the knights? Sock is not mining any gold at his expo. His only mining is this long distance mining here, so that is better than, as well, say Happy right now, who doesn't have any mining going on either and only has a 44 supply deficit compared to 61 from Sock. Now, we've seen Undead players, how strong they are if all they have are obsidian statues and heroes, and this may be one of those games. We've seen Happy do more with less, and if it does become one of these matchups, well, how is this going to all unfold here? All right, Paladin quickly takes a Frost Nova, throws up a Divine Shield. There's a Staff of Sanctuary trying to save the Siege Engine as it rolls on into the back again. All right, they're going to try and, well, perhaps make a push onto some additional bases here. Haunting of the Gold Mine starting once more. Peasants are still doing long-distance mining, going back and forth as the Siege Engines are going to retreat back and get under the cover of the Arcane and Cannon Tower. One siege engine unable to get back inside there. Meanwhile, back off to the north, Knights cleaning up some of these acolytes here. Paladin staying at level 3, Mountain King going to stay at level 4. The human heroes had just recently leveled up, and all of these acolytes are going to get cleaned up again. Siege engines with Staff of Sanctuary, a major problem for Happy. The piercing damage, the heroic damage, has a difficult time even applying damage to or making damage stick to the siege engines. Add in the Staff of Sanctuary, those units get teleported back to safety and then just rinse and repeated over and over again. Both sides going to fight their way through. A quick Divine Shield on that Paladin again. Didn't want to Death Coil, Frost Nova, Anti-Magic Shell. There's a Thunderclap. Ghouls and Acolytes taking quite a bit of damage here as the units are trying to retreat back again. Lich perhaps going to try and go after another unit. There's a Staff of Sanctuary trying to save some of those knights, as the Paladin and the Mountain King could now be in trouble as there are just pretty much no more heroes nearby. New Water Elemental being dropped down. There's a Frost Nova onto the Paladin. Paladin trying to get away. Stormbolt onto the Lich, trying to cause a little bit of separation. Ghoul in that frontline spot, taking quite a bit of damage. There's a Holy Light to say, just get out of my way. Staff of Sanctuary saving the Paladin there, as the water elementals were trying to pick apart and add some lasting damage to those obsidian statues and maybe that Banshee as well. An Acolyte down to the south here getting in some little bit of damage. Meanwhile, siege engines rolling into the main base now, and every bit of damage onto a building is absolutely devastating, as once Happy loses all of these buildings, the game is over. Every bit of damage here. Archmage shows up here, and now you're going to start seeing that Staff of Sanctuary rinse and repeat again. Mountain Kings, I believe, is ready for cooldown, as that siege engine gets teleported back home. Archmage, I do not believe his Staff of Sanctuary is ready to be used yet. Needs a little bit longer, and that's why that one siege engine is trying to roll out. Nope, gets it just in time. All right, more pressure onto the Graveyard here. Graveyard down to 100 and, down to dead, as that is gone here. Paladin, is the Paladin going to be able to roll up inside and perhaps bring back a siege engine from the Verge? No, that siege engine is gone. This siege engine could take a little bit of damage once more. Where is that? Well, Mountain King going to go ahead and regroup with the siege engine to try and put in pressure. All right, one siege engine recovering. These siege engines rolling back out. You still see long distance mining. I'm getting about, what, 7 gold per bag per trip overall. 57 supply compared to 36, but the real story is the amount of hit points left on these remaining buildings. 2,400 plus 1,500 is, what, 3,900 once this necropolis is done. Happy selling some of his items at the shop to perhaps get a little bit more buildings again. He does have a decent sized army, but the siege engines have just been able to rinse and repeat over and over again. You can see the battle here is all about hit points, and that is what Happy is spending all of his gold on, just more and more hit points on buildings. Dark minions, greater dark minions are out here, and could we get a very large army of dark minions because of this dark ranger? There goes one more. And if more and more peasants are lost, we could see the dark ranger perhaps try and turn this game into a possession or ultimate ability possession race. However, the human army shows up, knows that the dark ranger is out of that fight there. Divine shield onto the paladin, both sides fighting their way through. A big thunderclap going across. Crypt fiends could get taken down. One goes down. More skeletal dark minions getting taken down as well. Dark ranger trying to rejoin up here on the battle, and not having silence is a very, very big deal. Another thunderclap being brought on through here as the water elementals are trying to poke apart some of these last couple of banshees, removing anti-magic shell from the equation. Siege engines showing up here off to the north, now able to barrel through and blow down a couple of the new buildings as Happy gives the doesn't give a GG, leaves the game. Sock able to outlast against his opponent with significantly weaker heroes. Level 6, level 5 going up against a 5-4-3, and Happy wasn't able to close out the game. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below. Look at that score difference. Wow.